Hello, my name is Mara, and welcome to Books Like Whoa. So, I wanted to reflect with you guys on a recent experiment that I conducted, not here on YouTube, but on my Instagram. I am a booktuber, and therefore, when I'm on Instagram, I'm a bookstagrammer. Same handle at Books Like Whoa, and the original plan was for me to vlog, but because just the way things are going these days, I am more and more often losing footage. Got to figure out what to do about that, but I lost most of my vlogging. But anyway, I should tell you what I was vlogging. So I decided a couple of months ago that I wanted to do an experiment with my Instagram account and try to follow an Instagram theme. So if you are not familiar with the Instagram platform, sometimes people on their Instagrams like take all photos that when you look at their page, like you look at all the little like thumbnails together, you can tell that they all like match. So sometimes people will have like all black and white photos, or sometimes people will only do like blue for the month of October, or whatever. Like you kind of follow an aesthetic theme. So I wanted to do that with my Penguin clothbound classics. So if you don't know what those are, you probably do if you watch this channel, but if you don't know, this is what they look like. So they are a specific edition of classics that Penguin puts out. They're designed by the amazing Coralie Bigford Smith, and I just love the way these look. This is like my favorite collection or edition to collect, and they're just beautiful to look at. And I get a lot of comments asking for people to see them more, and I try to I don't want my account on Bookstagram or BookTube to only be that, but also trying to show people the collection, especially people who are trying to figure out what all books are in them, whatever, they just want to see them. So I thought that it might be fun to do an experiment where I took pictures of all of my Penguin clothbound classics. I was going to call it a Penguin a day, and make it so that on my profile, when you scroll down through my profile, it would have a rainbow effect. So it would have a green and then a blue and then a yellow, and overall you would get that kind of impact. So that was the idea. So I started vlogging, and at the beginning of my vlog, you can see, or you would have been able to see, that I was excited, that I was interested in what I was going to learn, how it was going to go, whatever. But things quickly turned around. So let me cut to the couple of clips I have left, which are at the very end of my experience. Today is the day, guys. I am posting the last of these pictures, and I am so excited and so relieved. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, but today's the day, guys. I'm so excited. So yesterday I posted my my last individual picture, which was of Sentimental, and it's a very beautiful book. And then today oh God, this is a terrible angle. Today I'm posting my summary one, so I'm really excited because, yeah, I'm ready to be done with that particular project, and I'll take some time to let things cool off and then check back in with you guys, but yeah, good day. Okay, so if you couldn't tell from that, I was pretty over it by the end of doing this particular experiment. But I did want to just reflect with you guys some things that I learned from trying to create an Instagram theme, and some just kind of practical tips or things that I learned about Instagram from doing it, but also just sort of how I am reflecting now on that entire experience and sort of what my takeaways from it were. So I think on a practical level, some things that I learned from having a specific theme that I was following every single day, because I was posting every single day to Instagram, which is not necessarily something that I do or even kind of want to do all the time. In the past, I've tried to follow an everyday posting schedule for Instagram challenge kind of thing. So Book Riot often will do a month-long Instagram challenge, and they'll have Riotgrams. I think that's the hashtag. So I've tried to do that before. I'm usually pretty hit or miss. And I've tried to do it for a couple of readathon things, but never really been able to stick to it. So One of my biggest takeaways is that if you are going to have a specific theme you are trying to follow, that the biggest thing you need to make sure you can do is have consistency. So one thing that I did, which I think is a good tip, is that I took photos in batch. So I didn't just like set that shot up every day. I took the photos, I think, in 2 separate batches. That, however, I will say was something I also realized, is that I should have taken them all in one batch, because one thing that drives me nuts is that I didn't check the camera angle for both of them. So in one batch, the books are much closer to the camera, and in one of them they're a little bit further away, so it ruins the overall effect, which annoys me a little bit. So that was a practical lesson, is that if you're going to take pictures in batch, or if you're going to try to have the exact same background, either do it all at one time, like all the ones that you're wanting to look like that at one time, or you need to take like very careful notes about exactly how you set that shot up, because otherwise it won't look right. And that would include both the angle, like what's around it, and then also the lighting. So that was something I didn't really think about. I was like, well, I definitely want to take it in batch because I don't want to have to do this every day. And I was thinking about the consistency, but anyway, if I could do it again, I would have just like spent an entire few hours taking all of those photos instead of 2 separate sessions. So that was a practical tip. I think I got a lot more comfortable with some of the like tools within Instagram. So I think that before this, I usually just sort of stuck on like a pre-made filter, kind of called it a day, like scrolled through, found the one I liked and called it a day. But I think that you can create a lot more interesting and dynamic shots if you go into the like manual editing tools. So that is something that I would recommend in terms of a tip if you're trying to like figure out how to make your pictures look better and you're not going to go into like Photoshop or something like that. Side note, if you're looking for like hardcore Instagram tips, this is not the place. This is for like the casual Instagrammer who's like wanting to like up their game a little bit, okay? So anyway, all that to say, if you want to make it pop a little bit more, I do think going into like the custom tools, I got a lot more comfortable with those as time went on, and I think I really learned what each of them do. So I think that it was very helpful in terms of getting comfortable with that piece. And then also like things like writing alt text and like figuring out the best ways to write descriptions. I think one thing that I'd kind of done a little bit before, but I definitely got a lot more comfortable with, was figuring out all the hashtags that I was going to put with it. And I just had it as a note on my phone. Like I just wrote out, like I put the asterisks and then I wrote out all of the hashtags so I could just copy and paste it each time. So like that was something that as I would go on, I would think of kind of like new hashtags to add to it, or think about like for different titles, like different types of hashtags I could put on in terms of like specific countries that books were from or whatever. One thing I realized as I went on was that there's a ton of hashtags relating to Jane Austen that are not like hugely popular, but like big enough that it was worth adding it. So that was another thing that I've heard, is that it's good to kind of mix up the size of hashtags that you're using. So like, you know, if all you do is tag it hashtag Bookstagram, there's like millions and millions of posts in there. But if you can find ones that are like, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 entries, that can be a good thing to kind of add into the mix. So I discovered that on Jane Austen titles, there's just a lot of them out there that you can use. I also got a lot more comfortable with the whole like drafting feature of Instagram. So this was something I'd sort of done before, but I'd accidentally like messed it up a couple of times. But just the fact that you can go in and create drafts. And that was something that as time went on, I realized that if you want to have a post every day that looks consistent in some way, like if you're trying to follow a theme, it's a good idea to take the pictures in batch, but then also just for efficiency's sake, I found it really helpful to create the drafts in batch. So I would go through and I would figure out like how my rainbow was going to be working. Because at first I sort of was just freestyling, and I wish that I'd thought through a little bit more how the rainbow was going to progress, because there were times where I had to make transitions that I didn't love, or I didn't have enough of a particular color of a book to make it work the way that I really wanted it to. And I think I got that working a lot better when I went in and scheduled them and created the drafts in batch and put them in the order that I wanted to post them. Like that was just helpful to me to do that. I think in terms of some of the tips, those were my takeaways. In terms of like what I learned about myself as an Instagrammer through this process, a few things. First, I would say that I am somebody who doesn't really use Instagram, I think the way that in theory I'm supposed to, in terms of just like how I think about it and what I go to Instagram for. So this is kind of like, I'm trying to figure out and give words to what I'm trying to say here. Instagram for me is something that I like for memes, for pretty shots, or like things that make me like just things that are somewhat aesthetically pleasing, for adorable dogs and cats, for cool people. So like Nancy Birtwistle, I think that's her name, Nancy from Great British Bake Off. I just started following her and I love her Instagram. And then like a huge part of what I like Instagram for is stories. Like I really like watching people's stories. I have people who are like a part of my routine. Like I always watch Beautifully Bookish Bethany's stories in the morning when I'm getting my coffee break. Like when I'm in between meetings and like refilling my coffee, I watch her. I like watching like Simply Nailogical stories. I hardly ever notice her actual posts, but I really like watching her story. So like I am somebody who is a watcher and enjoyer of stories. I am not, so like I do enjoy the aesthetically pleasing shots, but I only enjoy them insofar as it's a book that I like. In terms of, this is in terms of book stuff. I only enjoy it insofar as it's a book that I already like, or a person with the book that I like. Just generically pretty Bookstagram things are not that exciting to me. And so I really, like when I enjoy my books, I love the way that these particular books look, and I love taking pictures of my bookshelves. The primary joy that I get from that is when I'm having a spontaneous moment of enjoying the aesthetics of a book. So like the other day I was passing by my bookshelf and I took a photo and I put it on Instagram because just the way the light was hitting it, it just was beautiful to me. And like in that moment, I was enjoying the aesthetics. That's what I like in terms of like an aesthetic part of Instagram. That's what I'm more into. I like using Instagram to take pictures of like a book that I'm enjoying right now, or a book I'm excited about, or like what my TBR for the weekend is going to be, or if I got a cool bookish present or something. Like I don't necessarily post that often on my main Instagram feed. I post much more frequently, though I've been bad about it lately, on Instagram stories. Like I like using it almost as sort of like micro vlogging kind of thing. That's my main thing I like on Instagram. So by putting all of my Instagram energy into trying to follow this theme, one thing that made me realize is that it made me not want to post on stories because I was just kind of tired of creating content basically for Instagram. Like it would wear me out. And I just didn't enjoy it all that much by the end of it. I think another thing that was tricky for me is that I know some people, so I think the way that I use Instagram stories, Insta stories, to kind of like do a mini vlog, I think some people use their captions on their photos as a mini blog. Like they'll just kind of talk about like how they're doing that day, and it doesn't have any relation to the picture, and that's totally fine. I mean, everybody should do what they want. But for me, like if I'm putting a picture, for me, I want to say something about that picture and not just a general. So like having to come up with things to say about each and every single one of those books, especially when it's not like a book I'm currently reading and loving or whatever, that I found really like challenging after a while. Like I didn't, especially when I was trying to do them in batch, which would help me like figure out aesthetically like which one should go where. I think the captioning part of it was something that I didn't enjoy because I felt like I wanted to say something about the book, and because this wasn't something spontaneous or coming from a place of like, oh, I want to share this right now, it felt a little forced to me. And it wasn't that I said anything untrue or whatever, or like wrong. It wasn't like bad. It just, I didn't enjoy it, basically, is what it boils down to. And I think that because I wanted to do this as sort of like a challenge for myself, just to like try to get better at Instagram, honestly, because I often feel like I don't totally understand it. Like the way that I get better, quote unquote, at YouTube, or better at like editing for YouTube, is by like trying new things and, trying a different posting schedule, or, reading, like hearing from other people about what they're doing to like maximize the algorithm. Like that's part of the enjoyment for me of YouTube, is like, as a hobby, is that I enjoy figuring out YouTube itself and editing. Like I think that's fun. And so I kind of wanted to extend that same philosophy to Instagram. Like I want to get better at it. Like I want to enjoy using it more, and like I want to enjoy the process of figuring it out better as a part of what I like about being an online bookish person. I think one of my takeaways from this is that I don't necessarily need to do that. Like, I don't know that Instagram is really like the platform of my heart. Like, it's not something that I have a genuine desire at this point to grow in my skills at it. But I think I needed to go through this process to like really understand that. Like, I think my takeaway from this is, I think I know how to take slightly better Instagram photos, maybe. Like, I think I learned at least more about how the tool itself works, and you know, it's given me some thoughts about different types of posts that I could have on Instagram. Like, I think it has expanded my creativity for Instagram, but I think what I need to do now is just recognize, like, I don't need to invest a ton of time in trying to like master this platform, because it's just not the one that I like the best. Like, I prefer YouTube. I enjoy learning more about YouTube, and I just don't have the same passion for Instagram. I think what I want to do is like continue to do the things on like my main feed that I enjoy doing. So like, you know, talking about a current book that I'm reading, or like, you know, if I see something really cool or go to a cool bookstore or whatever, like maybe posting that. And then just lean into doing the Insta stories when I feel like it. Like, that I think is what I should use Instagram for more. I will say that one thing I learned from this is that consistently posting does increase your followers. Like, I definitely saw a big, at least for me, increase in followers as a result of doing that. So I think I validated the idea that if you care about growth on Instagram, you do need to kind of feed the beast more regularly. So, you know, I learned that, but I don't think that growing on Instagram is a particular priority for me. I only want to grow on there insofar as people who are interested in seeing what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Like, that's the main place that I do that, as opposed to like Twitter. So, I mean, I guess for that reason. And then I should say something else that I already know that I do like about Instagram is I find it vastly superior in terms of running giveaways and stuff to YouTube. So like, I'd kind of already made that decision, but like even more so as time goes on, I'm like, yeah, I'm only using Instagram now for when I do giveaways and whatnot. So, you know, I think that's good. But anyway, I feel like this is a very rambly video. Originally, this was going to be, I thought, more interesting because it was a vlog, but I just wanted to kind of come on here and reflect with you on an online bookish experience that I had outside of YouTube, because I know a lot of people do also use Instagram for bookish related things. A lot of people are trying to create Bookstagram accounts, or, you know, I don't know. I just sort of wanted to kind of share my experience and my thoughts. I will say, so I guess this was like the highlight of it, was that at my last post, when I posted my full rainbow onto my main feed, Penguin Classics acknowledged my existence, and Coralie Bigford Smith herself liked several of my posts. So she like has some awareness of my existence. So I guess that was like a goal achieved. That was probably worth the endeavor. And overall, I will say I didn't have a very good time doing this, to be totally honest. I don't foresee myself doing something that long again, because that's the other thing. This was like a 2 or 3 month, this was like almost a 3-month project, basically. I think that was too long. I could see myself doing this again with a collection in a more focused format. I may do it at some point with Agatha Christie. I don't know if the mood strikes, maybe next year, but I don't foresee myself doing this again for that long. But I think it was an experiment worth undertaking. It's something that if you're interested in trying to do, I don't know, I think it will teach you a lot about the tool, and I think it will probably help you understand what you do and don't like about that particular platform and the kind of content you like to create for it. So insofar as like a growing experience, I would definitely recommend it. But I think my takeaway is like doing one that long is not fun for me. And I don't really like doing like batch photos. I don't really like taking just like, generic is not the right term, but just sort of like the only thing about this picture is that it's aesthetically pleasing. That's just not exciting enough for me as a creator on Bookstagram. Even if I sometimes enjoy that from other people, it doesn't get my juices revved. So, all that to say, I think that's most of what I learned from my Instagram theme experiment. Anyway, I have no idea how many of you will actually be interested in this topic, but I thought I would just kind of put my experiences out there because it was a significant little time that I had. Yeah, let me know how you feel about Bookstagram and maybe Instagram in general. I know a lot of people talk about getting FOMO from Instagram, and that's just, I don't know if it's because I just have my accounts curated well, or that's just not like the way I process social media, but like that's not a problem for me, but let me know. Do you feel like Instagram is something that like promotes FOMO, either like kind of in your personal feeds or on Bookstagram? I don't know. Just let me know what your thoughts about Instagram in general are, if you have any, below. And yeah, I think that will do it for this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you're so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, including Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys are having an absolutely lovely day, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!